effectively 3 cards, but one of them you draw extremely consistently due to cards like Raiding Party mainly. But let's go into game number 1. No more messing about again. One last time, I apologize for the slight delay we had in getting cooking, but we've got it started now. It's Flurry versus Alutemu in the Rogue Mirror. Let's take a look at these opening hands, Language Icon.
You remember how yesterday you kept making notes that Evil Miscreant somehow happens to always find its way into the Rogue's opening hand? It's insane. So from Flurry's side, he is on the coin. He does have the Miscreant ready if he wants to coin that out now to get the lackeys. On Alutemu's side, obviously, he's not on the coin, he's on the play, so the Miscreant's going to be a bit harder to activate.
Yeah, I do like the coin into Miscreant here, especially because there is prep, there is backstab, all of these things that can continue to activate cards, and that once you get into the turn 4 plus territory, your lackeys also activate anything very easily as well. Right. So this is just the start, I think, outside of course, a silly Van Cleef, right? Yes, you want that every game, but it doesn't happen. But outside of that, I think just coin Miscreant in the mirror is a fantastic opening.
Yeah, it just gives you options to work with over the next few turns, and it lets you plan out what you want to do based on the other cards you have in your hand. Alutemu here is at a bit of a decision point. He can now, with the drawn backstab, activate his Miscreant if he so chooses, but he could opt to just remove Flurry's Miscreant instead if he wants to go backstab SI7 agent and use his Dagger Swing to kill the 5 health Miscreant.
I think I like that, to be honest, because killing the Miscreant, especially whilst developing a 3-3, nullifies a lot of the threat from the lackeys that Flurry will get. So normally a very powerful, even fallback plan is that if you get Witchy Lackey, where you can evolve a bad statted 3-drop into a non-aggressive statted 3-drop, I'll say. It's definitely not a bad stat, but you can evolve it into a 4-drop, which is very powerful, and you still develop the minion. If it can gain +1 attack and rush, still it's a high health minion with now 2 attack instead of 1. So I generally would like to see the SI here from Alutemu, but he's kind of gone halfway in between, used the backstab anyway just to put it down to 3 health, and then just gone for his own Miscreant.
Right, another benefit of going for the SI7 there is that Alutemu has seen that Flurry's coin is gone, so he can't equip a Waggle Pick. He could go Dagger Deadly Poison, perhaps, to deal with the SI7 agent if he so chooses, but he does go for the Evil Miscreant to just get the Lackey generation online. The 2 Witchy Lackeys might come in handy here.
Well, there's a worry that they might not as well, because if this Miscreant's cleaned up, then Alutemu will want to proc the SI7 agent most of the time, and using a Witchy Lackey, it's one of the few where you need something already on the board to get some kind of live effect from it.
Right, we see Flurry doing exactly what we talked about, cleaning up the Miscreant. Alutemu does have a Dread Corsair, which normally costs 4 mana, but is discounted because of the attack of his weapon. So he could... Ooh!
That's better.
Yeah, that might be okay. So Flurry is the one who's running 2 weapon removal, so Alutemu can decide if he wants to take a different line or just equip the Waggle Pick he drew. The thing is, developing a Dread Corsair and the Witchy Lackey doesn't actually help Alutemu remove any of Flurry's board. You're just developing your own board and hoping that Flurry can't remove it on the backswing and then push face with the remaining minions on board.
Yeah, so I think taking down this SI7 agent feels good now, because this is the problem, and kind of the same turn that Alutemu could have gave Flurry to consider if he did the SI7 first. Because that's the problem, especially with, as you mentioned, quite rightly, no coin means no coin Waggle Pick, which means the removal gets a lot harder.
If Alutemu wants to kill this SI7 agent, he'd have to either play the Bloodseal Corsair or the Witchy Lackey as an activator, and neither of these you really want to use just by themselves. The Witchy Lackey can be very useful, but the Bloodseal Corsair you also want to save for Waggle Pick later on, or just a weapon that's been Deadly Poison. Looks like he is definitely leaning towards playing the Witchy Lackey to activate the SI7 agent so that he can clear Flurry's SI7. It's coming close, though.
And, already you see kind of, I won't say it's too much of a punish, but the effect of sometimes your lackeys aren't great if you don't have the minions already on the board.
Right.
And it would have been the same for the Rush Lackey, right? Like, it would have just had to have been a 1-mana 1/1 activate SI7 agent.
Which, I mean, using the lackeys without actually... They still serve a purpose here because they do activate the combo, but you don't get the value off of them. Flurry has the Faceless Summoner and the Goblin Lackey, so it'll be a bit easier to use those. But if based on the lackeys that Alutemu got, it was kind of awkward.
Ooh, okay, 2-mana 2/3, that's definitely not bad. And also, especially with the, not going to use it this turn, but when you can +1 attack and rush, suddenly it's a 2-mana 3/3 that's knocking around on the board, putting a little bit more damage.
Flurry taking a massive lead here on board. Well, I say a massive. There's 3 minions, but in the Rogue Mirrors, things can get out of hand very quickly. So
Any lead is a big lead.
Yeah. Because as soon as someone starts equipping Waggle Pick and going face, you blink a couple times and you wind up dead and the game's over.
So many options.
Flurry does have to consider though the Bloodsail Corsair, the weapon removal.
Right.
Just because what you don't want to do is, you can't always play around weapon removal, right? Sometimes you just play the weapon because it's correct. If it gets removed, well, welcome to the game. But what you can do is not put yourself in positions where the weapon removal completely ruins your game plan. Because sometimes we've seen, if the Waggle Pick effect hits one certain minion, you lose so much damage, you lose a great live effect, it could hit a massive Van Cleave. So you can do something to actually nullify the weapon removal to a certain extent, but sometimes you just have to play your cards and hope they don't have it.
Yeah, Alutemu does go with the Waggle Pick, cleans up the board, deciding whether or not he wants to trade off the faceless, trade into the faceless summon here. Sorry, the summoner faceless lackey. Faceless lackey. There we go.
Yes.
Could choose to also, yeah, I like this. As we said, the Dread Crusader is a 4-mana minion, so evolving it from its 3/3 stat line can get you something really nice here.
I had to take a second then, and I'm going to ask you a question, like a funny occurrence question.
Okay.
Do you know the text on that card? Because
Reckless Experimenter?
yeah.
Yeah.
What's the text?
Your Death Rattle minions are
Okay.
2 or 3 mana cheaper, and at the end of the turn they just die.
Okay, important to just the minions, just because Waggle Pick, it doesn't
Oh,
reduce
yeah,
Waggle Pick,
okay,
right?
fair, fair.
That's all. I just wanted to highlight.
Rattle
There you go,
minions.
minions you play. So it is actually only minions on board, so it's still a very cheap minion now, especially after Shadow Step. But
3 mana 4/6.
yeah, but this is what I mean. Suddenly, Alutemu was fighting back with a solid minion on the board, but then the weapon removal shifted back to hand, and now Alutemu has to make some kind of game plan to get him back on the board.
Yeah, Flurry had just drawn that Bloodsail Corsair, so quite a timely draw, but it let him just push forward on the board, playing up the Life Trinker to develop something more. With a hand like Leroy Life Trinker, Flurry's going to be looking to just keep chipping away at Alutemu until he can find a lethal.
Also, funny note as well, I feel like a rare occurrence, at least for over the past 3 days, is neither player has had Raiding Party, which does change the matchup quite a lot, because the second you see a Raiding Party, you're like, okay, they definitely have a Waggle Pick, because they've either already drawn it or they draw it off the proc.
Right, and they
have
have
2 pirates that could be weapon removal, a taunt, or a green skin. Normally, or a deck hand.
Depending on the... Yeah.
But then, you have to play the game with that knowledge, and because both of them haven't played it, the hands are much more harder to read, I would say.
Alutemu's been struggling to maintain a board, and it looks like at 11 health, he might be able... Flurry might be able to just get a win next turn.
This is it, isn't it? Once you're so far ahead in this kind of matchup with no healing, no real recovery techniques, it means that Flurry can now just keep going face, unless there's a really good trade available.
Right. After a certain point, when you're so far ahead on the life total, you can just say, all right, I don't care about board anymore. I'm just going to
whack,
whack, whack.
Especially one Dread Corsair's gone.
Exactly.
And no Raiding Party, and that looks like plenty of damage to me, Language Hacker, as this is just going to be lethal even without the Eviscerate that was drawn there, and it can just go face anyway. There was also the Lackey for +1 damage, something you need to bear in mind.
Plethora of ways there.
Yeah, the Rush Lackey, even on a minion that can already tap face,